Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And P.I.L.L stands for prepayment of principal, isolating the principal amount, leverage, and liquidity. We have been preaching this message for the last 18 years, letting people know that interest cost can be managed. I don't care what the interest rate is. If the deal works, you can manage interest costs and pay a lot less interest. Listen, you don't need more money to get out of debt. You don't need more money to manage your debt. What you need is to pay less interest. And we're going to talk about that even if the interest rate is 18%. Now, I'm telling you, if you're a real estate investor, do we have any real estate investors in the room right now? Either online, well, wait a second. If you are, I'm going to be showing some examples, and you definitely want to be able to see these examples on YouTube. So I'm going to be posting our YouTube link for you guys in just a second here, so that you can see exactly what we're talking about. Let me put this over here on this screen, and we'll bring up our YouTube link over here. And when we bring that up, we're going to post it right in the chat on Clubhouse. And there it is. And share the link. Boom. There it is. So here is the link. Hey, Ruben Lewis, I was just thinking about you. Okay, Ruben. How about that? Come on, listen, I'm posting the link for YouTube here. So bring up YouTube on a like your laptop or your tablet, or maybe you have a second phone, but you definitely want to see these numbers, because I'm getting ready to post how we're helping real estate investors even with an 18% mortgage. You want to see these numbers. So any real estate investors in the room right now, either online watching us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, all right? Or anybody here in Clubhouse, any real estate investors, go ahead and put something in the chat. All right. If you're not a real estate investor and you're thinking about becoming a real estate investor, did you know that the residential mortgage interest rates just went to 8%? On Friday, I did a whole show on 8% interest rates and what you could do about it. We're going to come back again on Wednesday and talk about, we're going to talk about, my wife and I went out on a parade of homes. And in your area, there may be a parade of homes, meaning there are a bunch of new homes out. Somebody organizes them, puts them on a map, and then you get to go out and look at these new homes and get some ideas. So we're out looking at some of these new homes, and all they're talking about is the interest rates and how some of these homes were snapped up just a few months ago are sitting vacant. And the reason why they're sitting vacant is because the prices have gone up and the interest rates have gone up. And they're giving incentives. We're going to show you on Wednesday what to do with those incentives that the builders are giving you. And maybe, listen, you're getting incentives from the builder, you're getting incentives from the mortgage professional, from your real estate agent, and from the lender. I'm telling you, now is the time to buy because there's less competition. All of those people who are talking about the real estate market is going to crash and the housing prices are going to go down, I'm telling you, they don't know what they're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Even when the interest rates go down, and they will, eventually they'll go down because the market is going to stop reacting to the Fed interest raises, okay? Even if they go to 10%, you can make it. Right now they're at 8%. And I can show you on Friday's show, I showed you how you can even make it with an 8% mortgage. Okay. But when the interest rates drop, People are waiting for the interest rates to drop. Guess what's going to happen? All of those people that are sitting on the sideline, they're going to flood right back into the market to buy houses. People who are waiting to sell their house are going to sell their house because, listen, even though the interest rates have dropped, the housing prices will not drop. So those who are waiting on the sideline, they said, listen, when the interest rates drop, we'll sell our house and then we'll buy another house. Well, guess what? There still aren't enough houses out there. And listen, what happens when there aren't enough houses? That the inventory is low, and then there is we have people competing for a smaller pool of houses. What happens to the housing prices then? Somebody tell me. What happens to the housing prices when there are not enough houses out there and people are competing for them? Yes, it's going to happen again. People are going to start bidding $25, $50, $100, $150,000 above asking just to win the bid on a house. The housing prices are going to continue to increase. All right. I have somebody, I have two comments here. Let me check it out. All right. Horace Jennings said it goes up. Horace Jennings says, hello from Virginia. Good morning, Horace, to you. And all right, let me see here. Ruben Loeing. Let me see what Ruben has to say. He says in 1998, the confirming interest rate was 7.5, and they went all the way up to 9% before the bank came back down. Okay, yeah, it's going to go up. I believe it's going to go up, but you can still make it when it goes up. You know how I know that the interest rates really aren't the problem? Because of what just happened before. When the interest rates were lower, people were bidding the houses up 200%, $200,000 over asking. What? Listen, when you raise the price of the house, you increase your monthly payment. So it doesn't really, so that tells me people don't care about the price. The interest rate being at 8% gives you a different perception of the market, and consumer confidence may go down and the perception may be off, but I really don't think it's an affordability problem like people are saying. When the interest rates go up, it becomes an affordability problem. Well, then if it was an affordability problem, then why were these houses going for $100,000, $200,000 above asking? There are people out there that will buy houses. They just need to understand what's going on. And right now, folks, if you're thinking about buying a house, do not sit on the sideline. Jump in and make sure you get your incentives, because as soon as things get quote unquote better, people are going to flood right back into buying and selling houses, and the prices are going to continue to go up because there still isn't enough inventory. Inventory is driving this thing, ladies and gentlemen, not interest rates. Inventory. So I'm talking to these builders, and they're telling me, that's what the builders are telling me. We are working with the lenders, and I had a sheet. They said, well, we're going to give you some incentives so that you can get a 5.25% interest rate if you work with us. So they're giving incentives so that you can buy down your rate if you need to. Now, I don't necessarily believe in that. I think you can do something better with that money. All right. I think there's a lot that you could do with that money that is getting ready to, that's right now in the market, helping you to buy these houses that are sitting because people have a perception that the 8% interest rates are too high. That's their perception. Guess what? When the interest rates go to 10%, will the 8% interest rates look good? You better believe they will. When the interest rates go to 10, 8 will look good. At 8, the 6% looks good. At 6, the 4% looks good. Listen, we're just taught to try to get the lowest interest rate possible. And I'm trying to tell you here, ladies and gentlemen, that you're better off in some cases, in a lot of cases, and sometimes even most cases, you're better off with a higher interest rate if you understand interest cancellation. Listen, I need some people to come to the stage and talk to me this morning. Raise your hand, come to the stage, even if you don't say anything. If you're here in Clubhouse, and I would just love it if you could come to the stage and then just populate the stage. More and more people will come in. All right. So this is the P.I.L.L Method House, and we're joining forces with the Mortgage Syndicate this morning, talking about 18%. If you're a real estate investor and 18% is your interest rate, we're going to show you how to make it perform like 4.67%. All right. All right. I have some people raising their hand. Come on up to the stage. Okay, Michelle, I see you. Okay, Ruben, we're going to invite you up as well. Thank you very much for coming to the stage. Miss Michelle, how are you?
Amazing. Thank you for having me.
Do you have a question or a comment, or you just wanted to say hi?
I have a question. What is the best rate that we should be shooting for in this economy?
Ooh, you have asked a very good question. Now, the very best rate is the best rate for you. What is the best rate for you? All right. So listen, here's what I mean by that. I had a guy who manages money for a living. He used to work. I guess he still works for AIG. Okay. And when I showed him interest cancellation techniques, he qualified for a lower interest rate, but he actually asked for a higher interest rate. He lobbied for a higher interest rate because because of the bonuses he receives. The higher interest rate works better for him. Michelle, have you seen any of my videos?
I have. I've been following you for a while now.
Okay.
I have another question.
Okay, go right ahead.
Is it better to buy property before marriage or after?
Oh, okay.
Like the buying power.
The buying power?
Yes.
All right. So can you give me a little bit more information? Give me a little bit more to chew on here. Give me an example of what you're talking about.
I'd like to invest in some rental property. Is it better to do this before I get married with my own income based on my assets and stuff like that? Or is it better to do it once I get married to have, my significant other's credit and all that stuff as well? Or is it better for both of us to buy separately and then get married?
Okay.
That's a big question for me.
All right. Here's the thing. If you're married and you're thinking about real estate investing, this is what I have been taught. Okay. That you can, on your own, manage. The bank will let you have so many mortgages under your name. You follow me, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you and a spouse are on the same loan, you've just limited your buying power. You just cut it in half. You see, your spouse can have so many mortgages and you can have so many mortgages, and you add them together, and now you have twice as many. But when both names are on the deed, when both names are on that mortgage, you just cut your buying power in half because now both of you can only have up to so many mortgages. Does that make sense?
Makes sense and totally answered my question. So the purchase needs to happen beforehand.
Beforehand, or even listen, even if you're married, if your name is the only one on the deed, then that's great. And then your significant other, their name is on a different deed. You both can buy twice as many houses now. Okay. That's what I've been taught.
Yes. And that's what I'd like to follow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just going to listen from here on out.
Please do. If you have an opportunity to ask a question again, please do. All right, Ruben, how are you this morning? All right, Ruben must have walked away from his phone, but that's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody else come to the stage? Listen, I would love it if I could get 4 or 5 more people up on this stage. 4 or 5 people up on the stage, because as you come up, more people see that you're in here, and then they will want to come in too. All right, they will want to come in too. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put something on the screen this morning. Raise your hand, come on up to the stage if you're here in Clubhouse. I'm getting ready to put some stuff on the screen here so that you can see what we're talking about in terms of how to deal with these so-called high interest rate mortgages and how you can deal with them. But right now, I'm going to put up, I have an opportunity to work with an online church. And on Thursdays, we are doing a thing called Money Answers All Things. Money Answers All Things. I'm gonna let you take a quick look at that and write some stuff down. Okay, so as we're taking a look at that, Thursdays we're on at 7:30 p.m. Central, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Okay, so please tap into that on Thursdays. We're doing 8 weeks. We've already done 2. We have 6 weeks left on that. All right, folks, I'm getting ready to jump in here. If you are new to the room and you want to see these examples, please go to YouTube right now so that you can see what we're getting ready to put on the screen. Okay, so I'm putting on a $200,000 mortgage at 18%. 18%. Now, this happens to be a multifamily. Okay, and this real estate investor is actually what is it, 4 units? Wait a second. Yeah, I think it's 4 units, and it's $1,500 a unit in rents. Okay, 4 units, $1,500 in rents per unit. That's what this real estate investor is making. So let's go ahead and put that on the screen. I'm going to present that. Okay, we're going to go to screen number 3 so that you can see what's going on here. All right. Why isn't it working? There we go. Entire screen. That's what I want. Okay. And we're going to go screen 2. All right, there we are. I'm going to put that up and share that. There we go. And let me change my branding here so that we can have the right deal. There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, $200,000 at 18%. It's a 30-year mortgage. And here is the payment. Now, here's the thing. The payment is $3,014.17. How much did I say that this real estate investor is bringing in? $1,500 per unit, and it's a 4 unit. Okay, that's $6,000. So let me ask you, if you're bringing in $6,000 in rents, but your mortgage payment is $3,014.17. All right, are you okay? Are you okay now? You still have taxes and insurance, but are you still okay? Yeah, I think you're pretty much okay here. Let me show you what can happen with a mortgage like this. I'm going to bring up something here. All right. One of my case studies. Let me get this out of the way. Bring up my case study here. And there it is. All right. All right. You should be able to see my case study here. Here's the thing. Here's a $200,000 mortgage at 18% interest, and the income is $6,000 a month. The monthly debt payments are $3,014 a month. And the other expenses, all right, so they're taking care of investing, paying taxes and insurance out of the 2,000, and they're investing right away. Okay, so we're not messing with their investment. They're taking 33.3% of the income and using that to invest and do some other things. Over here, they're taking 16.4% of their income. That's $985 approximately, $985. It comes out to $985.82, but they generally round it off. So $985 that they're putting away in a reserve fund for repairs and maintenance. $985.82. That's what they're putting away every month. Okay. So based on what we have here, I'm going to show this real estate investor how the bank wants $884,000 in interest on this. Let me blow this thing up. How much interest does the bank want? I'm not talking about how much interest the bank is going to get. Let's talk about how much the bank wants. $884,974. So most real estate investors right now are teaching, don't worry about that because your tenants are paying the mortgage. I need I need everybody to forget that idea, forget that notion right now. If you're a real estate investor, your tenants are not paying this mortgage. You're paying the mortgage. Your tenants are paying you. And you then pay the mortgage. I'm going to make that abundantly clear today why we need to have that mindset instead of the mindset that the tenants are paying the mortgage and you're getting the equity. You're getting the cash flow and they're purchasing the equity for you. I need you to understand it differently. They're giving you money and then you're taking the money and then paying the mortgage. So keep that in mind as we go through this. So we're going to show this real estate investor while they're making their cash flow and they're taking a big chunk of that money and reinvesting it in other doors right away. Okay. Congratulations, Terry. Another Clubhouse birthday. Okay. Good morning to you, sir. Let's bring you up on the stage. Okay. So listen, what we have here is we're going to show this real estate investor how they can pay only $172,000 in interest instead of the $884,000 that the bank is looking for. That means that's a $712,953 interest savings to purchase the same property. Listen, when you take a look at what's really going on with this loan, all right, when you take a look at what's going on with this loan, you can see that that's way too much interest, but we're taught to ignore it because the tenants are paying it. But if we pay attention to that, this 30-year loan, we can pay this off in 7.8 years, saving 22.2 years, and take that money that we were giving to the bank in interest, take that money, and instead of giving it to the bank in interest, why don't we reinvest that money too and turn it into $1,190,000? Boy, oh boy. Let me get this out of the way. Okay. Now remember, if you want to see these numbers, you want to see what we're talking about, go to YouTube so you can see I have the YouTube link in here. Let me recopy and repaste it a little lower so people can see it easier, and then join us on YouTube so you can see this. Okay. So now I'm going to show you in total what I just showed you on our model here that we just took off the screen. All right. Here's the payment, $3,014.17. How much interest does the bank want on this? $885,101.20. That's how much money they want. Okay? $200,000 at 18%. Now remember, never forget that the real estate investor is bringing in $6,000 in rents on this. Okay? $6,000 in rents on this. All right. So now, if you take a look at the total interest paid as a percentage of principal, that's 442% all day. That's what the bank wants. They don't want 18%. They want 442%. That's when you take a look at this number, 885,000, that is 442% of the $200,000 borrowed. So let me show you what's going on with this loan. And when I show you what's happening with this loan, you are going to be amazed because it's not magic, ladies and gentlemen. It's just math. I need you to see right now how much money is going to principal on this loan every time this real estate investor makes a mortgage payment. Okay? $14.17 goes to principal. $3,000 is going to interest. That's it. $3,000 is going to interest. That's what's going on here. The next month, it only gets a little better. $14.38 goes to principal. $2,999.979 goes to interest. Do you see those huge interest payments? But here's the key. Control the principal payment and you control this loan. Control the principal payment and you control this loan. I see you, Anthony. Anthony has his hand raised. What's up, Anthony? Come on up to the stage. Oh, he just wanted to say hi. All right, that's all right. Listen, anybody else come to the stage if you're out here in Clubhouse, you don't have to even talk. Just come up to the stage, all right? Because more people will come in. I need you to see, okay, Cheryl. All right, come on up. There you are. Miss Cheryl, how are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Did you have a question or a comment? Or
No, I just liked what you said. Control the principal payment and you control the loan.
Come on now. People don't know that. Can I get excited about that?
Definitely.
Definitely. All right, folks, watch this. Watch this. So now when we prepay, now if you've seen my other videos, you know that prepaying can save you a ton of money. And if this is your very first payment, we'll call it January, your February principal payment is only $14.38. Here's my question to you. Can you, as a real estate investor or even a homeowner, can you give the bank that $14.38 early? Can you give them the $14.38 they're looking for this month, next month? Can you give it to them this month?
Yes.
Cheryl, you are so right. You are so right. So if I give that to them this month, do you realize I'm paid down to line 2 on my amortization schedule, and my next mortgage payment for February is actually on line 3, where $14.60 goes to principal, $2,999.57 goes to interest. I just took one payment off the board and saved nearly $3,000 in interest I'll never have to pay. That's what these real estate investors are seeing. Okay. Can I show you something else, Cheryl? Besides, are you seeing my stuff on YouTube, or can you see the examples?
No, I'm not. Okay. Actually, I'm not on YouTube at the moment.
All right,
but I'm going to go back and look. It will be there later, right?
Most definitely. You can always check the replay. Okay. So I'm going to explain this in detail. So when you go back to take a look at it, you'll be able to see this. Now, I also want to share with you, what am I using to do this example? Okay. The guy's website is Brett Whistle. This is not my program, by the way. I just use this as a teaching tool. Okay. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to copy this. All right. And I'm going to put that in the chat as well on Clubhouse. All right. We're going to bring that over and send that out to you. I need everybody to play around with this thing. I need everybody to play around with Brett Whistle and to see what I'm talking about is actually true. I'm also going to put that in the comments section online so you guys can see it too. There it is. And boom. So Brett Whistle, that is the amortization schedule that we use. The reason why I use this amortization schedule over everything else that's on the internet is because of these two columns, which are priceless: cumulative principal and cumulative interest. Cumulative principal and cumulative interest. You need to understand that right now as a real estate investor. Here's what I need you to know. And this is why I said at the beginning, if you're a real estate investor and your tenants are giving you the money and then you're paying the mortgage, here's what's happening with the money they're paying. They're giving you $6,000 a month. You're turning around and paying a little over $3,000 a month to the mortgage company, all right, or to the bank, all right. And then all of the data, all of the research, all of the information, all of the teaching is saying, don't worry about that. Your tenants are paying it, and you're gaining equity because the tenants are paying it. I need you to see what happens after 1 year. Can I show you? After 1 year on this mortgage, all right? And then I'm going to say hi to Terry. 1 year on this mortgage, $184.79 goes to principal after 1 year. You're bringing the loan down by $184.79. But how much goes to interest if you let the bank do what it wants to do? $35,985.25. I need you to think about that for just a hot second, and we're going to come right back here after we speak with Terry. Terry, how are you doing this morning, sir? Terry, are you available? He's just listening too, but that's okay. All right, but so everybody, friend Terry, say hi to Terry, send him a message, and this is his anniversary today. He's got his red balloon. So happy anniversary to you on Clubhouse today, Terry. All right, folks, let's jump right back in here so you can see these numbers. Shiloh, what's going on, man? All right, so maybe I can get Shiloh up here. Freight King just came in. Let's get him up. All right. So this is what you guys want to know. All right. Here's what's happening. If you want to see what I'm talking about, please go to YouTube so you can see the numbers. Please go to YouTube so you can see these numbers. Okay. Now, if I am a real estate investor and I have this mortgage at $200,000 mortgage at 6% on this quad, and I'm making $1,500 per unit. I'm bringing in $6,000, but I'm paying out $3,000 in mortgages. But here's what we're being told. If you add this up, $339,000, that's over $36,000 that the tenants gave this real estate investor. Out of $36,000, how much went to equity in 1 year? Out of $36,000, only $184.79. That's it. Does anybody here consider that a deal? You tell me. If I'm an investor and I'm telling you I'm making money and somebody gave me $36,000 and at the end of the year, I only have $184.79 to show for it. Do you believe that is a deal? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Yes or no? Out of 36 grand, only $184.79 goes to principal. That's the benefit. Put it in the chat if you think that's a deal. Yes or no? What? Nobody has anything to say about this? Okay.
I'm going to say
Go ahead.
Isn't it knows we want to pay off the principal, right?
Right. So here's the thing, Michelle. Why would any real estate investor, even though they're making money on the front end, why aren't more real estate investors looking at what we're looking at here? How much of their money is actually going to interest? So here's my question. If I know I'm going to be bringing this loan down by $184.79, let's do the math. Okay. I start out with $200,000. I'm putting a calculator on the screen right now. Okay. 200,000, and I'm going to subtract the 84.79. Okay. Subtract $184.79. That equals $199,815.21. That's exactly what I have here on line 12 on my principal balance on the amortization schedule. So how did we get to $184.79? We got there with these principal payments that were so tiny, $14 and $15 and $16 payments. So here's my question. Do I have to give the bank the $184.79 over 12 monthly installments, Michelle? Do I have to give it to them that way?
No, it can be attached to the payment, correct?
What? So you mean I can give it to them all at one time? What?
I would think so.
Well, listen, folks, you can prepay this loan. You can make your regular mortgage payment and then give them $184.79 on top of it. You're paid down to line 12 in just 1 month, not 12. 1 month.
This is Ruben.
Yes, Ruben, go ahead.
Okay, so this is why a higher interest rate is more beneficial. That's because you're paying less in principal with the higher interest rate, so you can go ahead and insert your interest for a whole year for $184.79. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's the principal payment. $184.79.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right, but if you pay that ahead, you're knocking out all that interest for a year, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. So here's what we're saying, folks. I'm not saying get the highest interest rate. I'm not saying get the lowest interest rate. You need to get the right interest rate for you. This real estate investor got into this loan. This was the best way they could get into the loan with this 18% interest rate. We're showing them how to make the best out of this deal. Okay. So now, if I can prepay $184.79, that means I can bring the loan down to here in 1 month, and I get to, I only have to pay interest on line 1. So instead of $35,000 to bring it down to here, I only paid the $3,000 on line 1. Does that make sense to everybody? Does that make sense to you? If I'm going to get, all right. So listen, let's look at 24 months. 24 months. At 24 months, I would be $405.72. $405.72 would go to principal. $71,934.36 would go to interest. Does that make sense to anybody here? What if we prepaid that instead and saved over $68,000 in interest? Over $68,000 in interest just by prepaying $405. Does this make sense to everybody? I need you to see this. Okay. Now, once we start digging into this thing, now I need to bring this back. I'll show you what we're dealing with here. And I'll give you, I can't give you exactly what this real estate investor is doing, because our program is actually running the show. It is telling them how much money to save, how much money, how long to keep it, when to put money on the debt. But here's an example of what I'm talking about. Out of all the money that's coming through, $985.82 is being put away in the savings account for repairs and maintenance. This particular investor wants to keep a certain amount of money in that account. Okay, they want to keep a certain amount of money in that account. Let's just say they want to keep in their account, because remember, they're getting they're getting first and last month's rent, and they're getting a security deposit. Boom. So it's got quite a bit of cash stored up in this thing already. Let's say they have 20 grand in the bank already, and every single month another $985.82 goes into that account. Okay? So what if and I'm just going to round it off to $900. Okay? I'm just going to round it off to $900. Okay? So what if with this situation, the real estate investor says, let me take $2,700 out of my fund. I got 20 grand over here. I'm going to take $2,700 out of my fund. Okay. That still leaves me quite a bit. Okay. $2,700 out, and I'm going to apply it to principal on this loan. What happens with this loan? And listen, if you really do need to see this on YouTube right now, okay? I'm going to go to cumulative principal, and I'm going to go to $2,700 and show you what happens. 27, right about in here, that takes off 90 payments. We're on payment number 91. Payment number 91. By taking $2,700 out of our reserve fund and applying it to principal on this loan, can anybody see how much interest we're saving by doing that, by looking over to the right? Can you all see that? How much interest does that save us? Okay. Now, remember, we always have to pay the interest on line one. Always have to pay the interest on line one. So that means we're saving about $268,000 in interest and knocking off 90. That's over 7 years, 7.5 years. 7.5 years off this loan because the interest rate is so high. 7.5 years off, and I'm saving that much money in interest because I put $2,700 on this loan at one time. Now, Don, can we continue to rob the fund that's supposed to take care of maintenance and repairs on our building? No, we cannot. So we're just going to wait. We're going to wait until we build that back up to 20 grand. If I took $2,700 out, how long will it take for me to build my fund back up to $20,000? How long would it take for me to put that $2,700 back at $900 a month? Can anybody tell me? How many months? $2,700. How long would it take to build it back up?
3 months.
3 months. There you go. 3 months. So here's what happens for the next 3 months. Real estate investor pays the mortgage on line 92, 93, and 94. All right. So now when it comes to down to here on this loan, on this payment, can they do that again? Take another $2,700 out and knock another 7 years off this loan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you see now what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen? By prepaying a loan, even if it's a higher interest rate loan, the principal payment is so small, you can kill this loan. Let me do a little bit more math for you. For those people who are saying, Don, why would I can take my $2,700 and I can make 10% interest on it. I can make 15%, 20%. And if I'm really good, I can even make 30% interest on my $2,700. Why would I pay down a loan here when my tenants are giving me the money to pay the loan down? Here's why. Let's just take $184 here. Just 12 months worth. I'm going to prepay $184.79. It's going to save me $32,000 in interest. $32,000 in interest. So what we do is, here's how you figure ROI. You can figure ROI on interest earnings. You can also figure ROI on savings. So if you can lower your expenses by a certain amount, that means you are increasing your profits because you're lowering expenses. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. So here's what we're saying. Let me see if I have any more hands. Nope, I don't. So if I do this, if I take bring my calculator up on the screen, I'm just going to round this off to $33,000. Okay. 33,000. Oops. $33,000. And what did I prepay? $184.79. Okay. So I'm going to take what I've earned and divide it by, let's see, how do I, okay, let me do this. I'm going to bring up how to figure ROI. How return on investment, ROI. Okay, boom. Okay, here it is. So sometimes I forget this stuff, and I should bring it up on the screen so you can see. ROI is calculated by subtracting the initial cost of the investment from its final value, then dividing this new number by the cost of the investment. Okay, so what am I making on the investment? And then I divide it by the number. All right. I've divided by the number that I invested into in the investment. In this case, we're putting it into the mortgage. Okay. And then I take that final number and multiply it by 100. So we're going to bring this back. I'm going to save this. We're going to bring it back a little bit later. Okay. So 33,000. And I'm going to divide it by the 184.79. Okay. Divide it by 184.79. And then I take this number and multiply it by 100. Multiply by 100 equals 17,858% return on my money. 17,000% return on your money. Can anybody tell me where they can invest $184 and get a return of $33,000? And how long will it take? And at what interest rate? This is guaranteed, folks. You take $184, apply it to this mortgage here, and you get a 17,000, almost an 18,000% return on your money. Listen, if you're getting anything out of this, put a number 9 in the chat. If this makes sense to you, put a number 9 in the chat right now. If you're getting anything out of this. All right. So by the time we get done with this, let me bring up my whole thing again. All right, let's see where it is. There it is. Okay. By the time we get done with this, when it's all said and done, the amount of interest that this real estate investor will pay is $172,000 on that. And let me bring this up. If I did the math on that, okay, that's taking in 18% mortgage. It says you would need an interest rate of 4.67% to pay this little amount of interest on a new 30-year loan. By the time we're done with that, that's all they're going to pay in interest, $172,021. That's it. That is a $712,953 interest savings on that. That's 81% interest savings on this. And this real estate investor, if they wanted to, could pay this off in 7.8 years. Now, can anybody tell me why this real estate investor will never pay off this property? Can anybody tell me why? They can. They could do it if they wanted to. But tell me why they're not going to. Can anybody? Put in the chat, come up to the stage. Why will this real estate investor not pay this off? I can't get any answers. Okay, let me tell you. I'll tell you why. Because they're going to get the equity that much faster and cheaper. And they don't have to depend on market conditions. They're going to get equity. They're going to get it faster. They're going to get it cheaper. And they don't have to rely on market conditions. Now, if they get equity from market conditions, that's just cherry. That's just cherry. That's just a cherry on top. But once they get that equity, they can cash out refi, take that money, and invest it in other properties. Why would they ever pay this off? They don't need to. They just need to get equity faster and cheaper. And in this case, they can get that equity 10 to 15, even 20 years sooner than normal, just by following the status quo, where I'm making money on the front end on this property. I'm bringing in $6,000. I'm paying out $3,000 in mortgage payments. We're making money, all right, and then growing their equity that way. Now that is relying on market conditions to increase the value of this home. But I don't want to wait on market conditions. How can I increase the value? How can I get equity faster and cheaper? I can leverage monies that are sitting in the bank to take care of maintenance and repairs on the building. That money is sitting there making 0.1%. Why wouldn't I leverage that money so I can turn it into what? What did we say? What did we say before? 17,000% return on my money when it's just sitting in the bank making 0.1%. Does this make sense to you guys? I sure hope it does, because it's just math. It ain't magic. Okay. So what are we doing then? What are we doing then with people who are looking at these interest rates and sitting on the sidelines, just waiting for the interest rates to come back down? When the interest rates come back down, there's going to be more competition. The prices are going to go up. Why would we wait when we can take advantage now, when other people are sitting scared because they are under the old rules? They are under the old teaching. They're under what they've been taught before. They're not taking advantage of how they can manage borrowing money at a discount. And if you can borrow money at a discount, ladies and gentlemen, why not jump in now? Why not take advantage of these deals now? Listen, my wife and I are out there, and they're literally falling over themselves trying the home sellers, the builders, the mortgage people, the real estate agents. Everybody's giving up part of their commission. Everybody's giving up part of their money in order to move these properties because people are sitting scared. You know, I went into New York, and I didn't grow up in New York. But in Times Square, I mean, the streets are quite busy. Okay. And I'm looking at the walk, don't walk. I mean, you know, it says stop, put the big hand up there. It says don't walk right now. But guess what happens with you? You know, you got 20, 30, 50 people standing on the corner ready to cross the street. And they got the big hand up there that says don't walk. What happens when one person starts to walk, even against the sign? What happens when one person starts to walk, even against what the sign says? Everybody walks. Everybody walks. Let me tell you, the reason why houses are sitting on are sitting longer without being sold. These real estate people, the builders, have these spec houses. I went by a spec house the other day. They want $790,000 for this thing. $790,000. Any other time, it would be well over $1 million. Well over $1 million. They brought the house down to $790,000, and it's still for sale. They're bringing incentives down. Listen, we're going to give you money, so that you can actually buy down the rate, and you can get a 5% loan. And and if you get it from me, I'll even give up as the real estate agent that was sitting in the house. I'll give up part of my commission too. Listen, there's so much being done now to get people into these homes. Don't let the interest rate scare you. This is the only reason why I'm doing this today. Listen, if we can make 18% work, then you need to go back and look at my show from Friday where I show you how 8% actually works. My. The average, can I show you I'm going to do part of that right now. The average, the median home price right now, $420,000. The median home price is $420,000 across the country. Interest rates just hit 8%. And people want to know, I'm talking to a young family just the other day, and they want to know, they've already bought their lot and they're getting ready to build. They bought their lot and they're getting ready to build, and they want to know, what do we do with these incentives? And the first thing the young lady said is buy down the rate. Buy down the rate. So don't get this 8%. Let's see if I can buy it down to maybe 6.5 or 6. And I said, can you afford the payment on the house you want at the 8%? The answer was yes. But why should I, when I could put some money down and get it down to 6.5? So let's say they could get $15,000 in incentives. $15,000. And listen, I'm talking to the builders, and they said, listen, we're throwing in all kinds of upgrades. And the upgrades aren't doing it. The upgrades are $20,000, $30,000 worth of upgrades, $40,000 worth of upgrades, and people still aren't biting. They're looking at the interest rate and running scared. So I can take that 8%, that $15,000. I can buy down the rate. Okay, can buy down the rate. Let's say we do. Let's buy it down to all the way down to 6%. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this tab here. We're going to put it at 6%, and we're going to do the math. Now, I know I'm doing part of Friday's show again, but doggone it. I need people to understand what's going on here, what opportunities you have right now. While things are slow, while everybody's afraid to walk, I'm trying to get you to see that it is clear. I mean, listen, there's no traffic coming your way. You can safely cross the road and let other people follow you. Stop being a follower and be a leader in getting the house you want, but then paying what you need to pay for it. Watch this. So now we have a payment of 2518.11, okay? 2518.11 versus, let me bring these two over here. Okay. All right, 2518.11 versus 3081.18. So let's bring our calculator back up. At the higher interest rate, the payment is $3,081.81. And then at the lower interest rate, the payment is delete. Okay. I'm going to subtract. I forgot to hit the subtract button. All right. 2518.11. There you go. That's a difference of $563.70. So I can bring my payment down by $500 or so. Okay, $560. But if I can afford the payment, okay, why would I do that when I could do this? Okay, go back here. All right. And remember, I got $15,000 in incentives. Remember why I use Brett Whistle here. All right. Because I can see cumulative principal and cumulative interest at any stage of the game. So if I make my first payment on the whole loan, I got 15 grand that they gave me so I could get into the house. I got 15 grand. If I wanted to, I could put all 15 grand as a prepayment of principal on this loan. Watch what happens. Year 1, year 2, 3. Look at this right here. 46 payments, almost 4 years gone off the mortgage. With the $15,000 they gave me as an incentive to buy the house. And that 15,000 just saved me over $123,000 in interest. Why would I settle for just a lower payment of $560 when I can listen? The total cost of this house is not $420,000. It's $420,000 plus the interest you're going to pay to borrow the money. That's the total cost. And right now, they want a million one for this house. $1.1 million when you add the interest plus the principal. And right now, with the $15,000, applied to principal, you can take off over $123,000 in interest you never need to pay. Folks, start looking at interest cancellation as a viable option. If you want to know how you can do more with this idea, not only learning interest cancellation techniques, but you can also have a computer program that runs everything, not just your mortgages, but your student loans, your credit cards, your car loans, everything. How would you like to be out of debt in about 7 to 9 years, even on this mortgage, even your student loans, even your credit cards and your car loans, by not giving the bank all of that interest? That is the killer, not the amount of money you borrowed. The killer is the interest. So why don't I just put my I'm going to put my link at the top here, ice10k.com. Ice, the number 10, the letter K.com. All right. So, real estate investors, take that 18% and make it act like 4.67%. Homeowners, home buyers, don't sit on the sidelines. Now is not the time to sit on the sidelines. Take advantage of all the incentives the builders are giving you, the real estate agents are giving you, the mortgage professionals are giving you. They're giving you incentives now to buy these properties. If something else changes, then what's going to happen is there's going to be more competition. So what if the interest rates go down? What happens if the interest rates go down? Okay? Interest rates go down, and then there's going to be more competition to buy properties, right? More competitions to buy, and there are still not enough properties. The prices are going to continue to rise. It's going to take them so long. It's going to take them so long to build enough properties. So I don't see that causing a decrease in prices either. So why are we waiting? Take advantage now. Take advantage now. I got my guy Ellis here. Ellis, how are you doing? Would you like to come to the stage? Raise your hand, Ellis. Come on up. All right. So Ellis invited me to come to California, and we were looking at prepayment of principal and trying to understand how that whole thing works. And here's what I want to show. Okay. Why should real estate investors prepay a certain amount of their income towards principal on these loans, even though it's an 8% or 3% or 5% or 6% loan? Okay. Let me give you something that's short and sweet. Okay. Let's just say you have this $420,000 mortgage at 5%. Okay. At 5%. There's the payment. All right. And now I'm going to prepay on this loan, because here's what's being currently taught, that if I have a 5% loan, if I prepay it, I'm only saving 5%. I'm only making 5%. Now the math on that is correct. The application is not taking into account what happens with an amortization schedule. So we're going to use two different amortization schedules because I'm not a math guy. I just look at the patterns here. Okay. So I'm going to take $12,710.07 and I'm going to prepay it on this loan. So if I do that, I start out at $420,000. Okay. I'm going to prepay $12,710.07. I'm going to pay it all at once, minus $12,710.07. Now what do I have? I owe $407,289.93. Okay, that's what it is right here. Now, I need everybody to take a look at this. If I don't prepay it, let's see what happens if I don't prepay. I'm going to make every single payment on this loan for 24 months. Okay? I need everybody to look at cumulative principal and cumulative interest. If I make every single payment for 24 months, look and see what happens. For 12 months, I pay the loan down by $6,196.51. Here's my question. Will I pay $20,859.29 in interest if I add up all the interest payments for 12 months? The answer is yes. for 24 months, if I make every single payment, here are my principal payments, $500 payments, $500 payments, add them all up, it comes to $12,710.07. Will I pay $41,000 in interest to get the loan down to where I owe $407,289.93? Will I pay $41,000 in interest? The answer again has to be yes, because we're adding it all up. Okay, so how do you want, if you had a choice, would you want to pay the $12,000 in 24 monthly installments? Or if you had a choice, could you pay the $12,000 at once and knock this out? Would you pay to get it down to $407,000? Would it cost $41,000 to do this, or would it cost just $1,750 to do the same thing, the interest on line one? Folks, I just need for real estate investors to really think about this and start incorporating interest cancellation into this. So when you do, here's what happens. And this is what I learned in the class Ellis invited me to, because there was an example. Here was the example goes something like this. I'm gonna change it up a little bit because I want to get a deal on my lawn mowing. Okay, 9 months out of the year they mow my lawn. 9 months out of the year. Okay, I'm thinking about offering the guy. So let's figure out what it costs to mow my lawn for 9 months. I'm going to give you 6 months up front, because this is something like the examples I learned in that class. I'm going to give you 6 months of upfront. So I'm going to pay you for 6, but I want you to mow me for 9 months. I want you to complete the contract for 9 months. Here's my question. When I paid them for 6 months, I've got a certain percentage of savings over 9 months. Here's my question. When did I receive the savings? When do I receive the savings? When I pay for 6? Or do I have to wait till the end of the season to receive my savings? What do you guys think? When do I receive my savings? As soon as I pay them? As soon as I pay? Or will I have to wait till they complete the contract for 9 months, and that's when I can really figure my savings? You tell me, folks. When do I get the savings? Well, let me help you. Okay? Let me help you with that. If I pay for 6 and the guy goes out of business, I've kind of lost my money, haven't I? Because I don't have anybody to mow my lawn now. I can't have that until they complete the contract for 9 months. When they complete the contract, that's when my savings kick in. I got 9 months worth of service, but I paid for 6. Does that make sense? So here's what I'm saying. If I give the bank 24 months worth of principal up front, and I'm paid down to here, $407,298.93, let me see what happens if I take this amount now and build a new amortization schedule around how much I owe now. I'm paying $12,710.07 up front. Okay, so I'm taking that number, I'm going to copy that, I'm going to put it in a new amortization schedule. This is how much I owe now. Okay, going to paste that in here. I got to remove the comma though, okay? Because this is how much I owe now. It's still 5%, okay? My payment is still the same payment, but I'm going to take out the number of payments. Let's do the math, and the program is going to tell me how many payments I have left. It's going to tell me I have 336 payments left. That's exactly, oh, look here. That's exactly 24 payments. Yeah. So if I got 336, Okay, I had 360. I now have 336 minus 336. That's 24 payments. I need you to take a look at something else, ladies and gentlemen, because the program has already done the math here. I got $420,000 at 5%. Here's how much interest they want. $39,674. $391,674 over 30 years. That's how much they want. But now, since I prepaid that $12,000, this is how much interest they want on this new one. $350,272.47. Huh. What happens if I take this interest amount, 391,674, and I subtract the new interest amount in the new amortization schedule, 350,272. Okay, so we're going to subtract 350,272.47 equals 41,401.53. 41,401.53. So here's my question. If I prepay that, will I really save 41,401.53 in interest? That's the question. So let me go back. 41,000. Can you see this number right here? If I prepay the 12,701, that is how much interest the bank wanted me to pay. But by prepaying it, we did the math on two separate amortization schedule. Look at here. 41,401.53. It is the exact same number. Am I saving that interest or not? And when do I get the interest savings? Not till I'm in the loan for 24 months. Let me show you what happens on this new loan. Because remember, we're going to pay. I'm just going to prepay the $12,000, but then I'm not going to prepay anything else for 24 months. On this new loan, look where it takes me in 24 months. I owe $393,246.05. That's how much I owe at the end of 24 months if I prepay. On the original loan, oh, by the way, I paid 40 grand in interest to get here. Cost me 40 grand in interest to get here, to get to 393,246.05. I need to show you something. What would happen on the original loan if I didn't prepay? What it would take to get down to 393,246.05. Let's take a look. 393,240. There it is. 393,246.05. That's 48 payments. It takes 48 payments to get there, not 24. I'm paid down by $26,000, but it costs $81,000 in interest to do this. Ladies and gentlemen, as a real estate investor, why would I pay $81,000 to do something that I could easily pay $40,000 to do in interest? By giving the bank the money, see, when we pay the bank back, they set the terms, they set the rules, and the rules are pay me every month on time, and part of the money is credited to interest and part of the money is credited to principal. But their system, the rate of change is too slow. The rate of change, meaning how much money is actually credited to principal, is way too slow. What if I wanted to increase the rate of change, increase the rate, the money that I want to pay back, but I want to pay it back in such a way as I don't have to pay a ton of interest. So I just showed here by saving, it'll save us over $40,000 in interest if I were to prepay that money instead of just paying as the bank told me to. And I'm going to do one more bit of math. If I prepay this, the $12,701, and I'm saving this much interest, all right? Let's do the math. I got $39,702.17 in interest. I'm dividing it by what I prepaid. 12,701. 710.07 equals, and then I multiply this by 100. That's 312% return on my money. If I prepay this and I save 39,702.17, that's 312% return on my money. Can anybody tell me where I can invest $12,000 and make $39,000 in just 24 months? That's our 312% return on our money. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you today, don't let the people who are standing on the sidelines that are too afraid to jump in, don't let them persuade you. If you have the money now, if the house is out there that you want, and even at this interest rate, if you can afford it, don't wait. The prices are only going to continue to increase. Plus, you are in complete control of how much interest you pay. So, what do you want to do? Go to P.I.L.L method, go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com. We're getting ready to wrap it up here, folks. I got some appointments, so folks want to talk to me today. ice10k.com, and then click on ICE. There we go. When you get there, scroll down past E.T., the hip hop preacher. Okay, he paid off his mortgage with us faster. All right, and then click on it says get a savings and earnings report right underneath E.T.'s picture. Get your savings and earnings report. Click on that, and then it says here, don't waste another dollar paying off the wrong debt. Don't do it. Get your free savings and earnings report. How would you like to know the month, day, and year you could be debt free? The month, day, and year you could be debt free and how much interest you could save. And you get the report for free. Just follow the steps. Step 1 is to fill out this part. Fill out this part, confirm your email address, and then we let you into part 2, put all your financials in there. And then with that, my staff will contact you to confirm the information. We have to confirm the numbers before we send this out. Once we confirm the numbers, then we can send you your savings and earnings report. If you like the results, my staff will also set up a consultation for you so you can see how you can implement this information. And our average client pays off all of their debt in about 7 to 9 years without refinancing and without sacrificing lifestyle. You can do this too. I mean, it's math, not magic. It's math, not magic. So you can do this as well. So not only that, but some of you today have heard quite a bit, and I would love it if you could help other people find our YouTube channel. If you would do that, here's what could happen. We're going to go back, all right, and you can become an P.I.L.L Method affiliate, all right. So go down here. It says, okay, you don't even have to scroll. Go to ice10k.com, look at the bottom of your page, and you'll see become an affiliate. It takes about 15 seconds to sign up. You put your name, your phone number, your email address, and tell us how you want to get paid. Cash App, Zelle, Venmo, PayPal. There it is. And you can make anywhere from $300 to $3,000 a month just by sharing our information with people, sending them over to the YouTube channel, let them watch some YouTube videos, and then call them back 2 days later. No more than 48 hours. Call them back. Say, do you want more information? If they say yes, then you go back to the same ICE 10K card, ice10k.com. Scroll down past my picture now and click on the link that says refer a friend. Click that link that says refer a friend, put their name in, their phone number, their email, their zip code, your phone number, and your name because you referred them, and just give us a little information about them right here, and then click submit. My staff will get that. We'll contact these folks, and once they become a client, you can get paid $300. And all you did was encourage somebody to watch some videos that could help them. And then send us this. No selling on your part, no answering questions. Just send that in. All right. If you send us one in 1 month, that's worth $300. The second one in the same month is worth $400. The third one in the same month is worth $500. The fourth one in the same month is worth $600. And if you send us 5 in 1 month that become clients, that fifth one is worth $1,200 for a total of $3,000. This is probably the most lucrative affiliate program going right now. So share this with individuals, and we will not, and we, from time to time, we have affiliate trainings as well to get into it a little deeper. So become an affiliate. The last thing I want to show you today is going back here, get my book, which will help you to understand what's going on. You can click this link here and it'll take you straight to Amazon. Last week, my book soared to number 2 again. It didn't quite get to number 1 for the 7th time. If it had gotten to number 1, it would have been the 7th time it got to number 1. Let's see where it is today. I haven't checked today. Scrolling down, and let's see where it is today. Oh, look here, dropped to looks like number 28. Yeah, dropped to number 20. So here is, oh, nope, it's 31 and 32. Here's the Kindle. Here is the paperback. I'm 31 and 32 right now on Amazon, but every now and then it shoots back up towards number 1, depending on how many books are sold. But thank you very much. Get the book. All right. Become an affiliate and get your savings and earnings report for free. All right. I'm going to check for questions. All right. Ruben has a question here. The financing. Oh, yeah. The refinancing is their ATM for the real estate investors. They take that cash out, buy more property, use the interest cancellation techniques, get their equity 7 to 10 times faster, cash out 10 to 15 years sooner, buy more property, and it doesn't cost them as much interest. All right. Let's see what else. What else is going on here, folks? I'm looking for other questions. I'm looking online. I'm not seeing anything. All right. Do I have anybody in the audience that wants to come up? Because I'm getting ready to shut it down for today. Anybody in the audience want to come up and ask a quick question? If not, I'm going to be back here on Wednesday to bring a brand new subject to talk about. And we're going to talk about what to do with these incentives. All right. I'm going to do some study on all the incentives that are being offered right now. And we're going to show you how you can take these incentives and do way more with these incentives than what you're being taught. I mean, it's good to get an incentive, but man, what if you get those incentives that they're giving you to buy a house now and then knock, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years off, save anywhere from $70,000 to $120,000 in interest you don't need to pay. Listen, let's take a look at what we can do with what they're offering so that you can take advantage of what we are recommending is a great time to jump into real estate if you can afford the payment. If you can afford the payment, don't let the interest rate scare you. Now is the time. Competition is low. Okay. The houses are there. They're waiting for you. Jump in. All right. And then give us a call, and then we'll help you to purchase that house in about 7 years instead of 30, and save you anywhere from $250,000 to $300,000 in interest you never have to pay. And we're going to show you how to set up the loan in the first place, so you'll be in a better position to take advantage of these interest cancellation techniques. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to get out of here. We're going to get our last word. Oh, I have one more thing to show you. One more thing. Let me bring that up, because on Thursdays now, there it is. On Thursdays, we're working with Living Manna Ministries online, and every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, 8:30 Eastern, 6:30 Mountain, and 5:30 Pacific, we are going over stewardship. Money answers all things, bridging faith and finance through stewardship. We invite you to look up Living Manna Church, all right, on YouTube and on Facebook, and go ahead, and it's free. You don't have to buy a ticket or anything. So just go and join their Facebook group, join their YouTube channel, and then click the notification bell. And then when I'm on, you'll be notified. But it's every Thursday. We're going to take Thanksgiving off, but every Thursday for 8 weeks. We've already done 2. We've already done 2 weeks, so we have 6 weeks left. So I want to invite you to that. So we're going to bring up Eric Thomas now, so that he can tell us what he thinks about the P.I.L.L method and what it did for his wife. And we're going to say goodbye until Wednesday. I want to thank everybody for coming in today, online and on and Clubhouse here. And thank you for showing up. Hey, Terry, are you available? Because I tried to talk to you a little earlier. You did give an answer. You available to say goodbye? All right, guess not. All right, folks, that's it. So we are done for today. Let's get Eric Thomas here so he can give us a few seconds of what he has to say, and then we'll say goodbye.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse, just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife, because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.